Hi, everybody. It is an honor and a pleasure to be here. We are excited to participate in activism on behalf of our loved ones and are grateful that you welcome our input. I reside in Broward County and I am a self advocate. I'm also a parent to a 13-year-old Lucas. Lucas has been diagnosed with complex or a rare form of epilepsy. There's only two cases known in the world, one in Canada and here in the US. It's called Adam 22. And I'm also the mom of Sophia. Here she is. And she's diagnosed with attention deficit and hyperactivity disorders. I am here with my colleagues and collaborators, Miss Amy Renda, Miss Mary Marowski, and Chasity Hendricks, to present you with our plea to please consider providing changes to the current state of housing for the disabled. We trust that you will take it to heart after you hear our testimonies and make our provision available for the sake of thousands of disabled citizens currently residing in group homes and the future group home residents, such as our children. Without further ado, Miss Amy Renda.
Group homes are in many ways like a small institution when it comes to a person's ability to choose activities. There have been improvements, but there is still more to do. According to APD, in Florida, there are 2,156 group homes with 12,582 beds. Currently, there is a med waiver rule that requires any person who lives in these group homes to stay there for at least 24 nights per month, no matter what. No exceptions, no allowances for special circumstances like family vacations, visiting out-of-town relatives for holidays, reunions, or attending a special needs camp or training event. If a group home resident doesn't adhere to this 24-day mandate, he or she could lose their housing. This is because funding for residency is tied to the 24-night rule with no exceptions. Our request is to change the med waiver rule of 24 nights per month to a less restrictive 20 nights per month, 2 times a year. This would be an extended leave time and would enable a person the flexibility to participate in off-site events that may extend beyond the current allowance. The ARC housing position statement is, quote, housing should afford people with IDD the opportunity to interact with people without disabilities to the fullest extent possible, end quote. Since families are encouraged to be active participants in the person's support team, it only makes sense to help keep the connection and encourage relationships with family and friends instead of limiting it. The 24-night per month rule is another way to limit interaction and take decisions away from a person living in a group home. When a bed becomes available, a person needs to take it so they don't lose their opportunity, even if it is out of the area. Family members may need to take 1 or 2 days of travel just to pick up their loved one. Extending the 24-night rule to 20 nights 2 times a year can mean the difference of a person who lives in a group home staying connected or losing touch with family and friends. This does not require additional funds, and when many residents of group homes live their entire adult lives there, this small step can help them maintain their family and friends connection. As we have seen with COVID, staying connected is so important for every person, no matter their ability. Now, I would like to introduce Mary, who will share her story.
Thank you, Amy, for sharing that essential information about the restrictive 24-night group home housing rule. And thank you, distinguished guests, for being here today. My name is Mary Marowski, and I am Colton's mom and advocate. For a guy they said would never walk or talk, Colton has come a long way, and he continues to surprise and delight us. Colton just turned 30. though developmentally, he's only about 10. Giving him over to the system, to a group home, so to speak, seems unfathomable to me. I remember sending my non-disabled child off to camp when she was 10, same age developmentally. How unnerving it was just to drop her off, but to leave her there permanently in someone else's care? No way. Can you imagine doing that to your own child? Never, right? It's horrifying to have to even consider that I will likely be dropping my son off someday, permanently, to a group home. Remember, developmentally, he's still 10. Colton still likes me to read to him, to tuck him in at night, to ride his special 3-wheeled 2-seater bike together with him, because he'll never be able to ride a bike on his own, let alone drive a car. I can tell you that unequivocally that the worry about what will happen to him when I am gone keeps me awake at night often. It's a forever worry, and it doesn't go away. Yet here I am before you, bearing witness to my reality that I will need to relinquish my own son someday, planning for that eventual unnerving reality that I will likely precede him in death or become too frail or too aged to provide for his essential care at home. This is my imagined nightmare, my imagined daymare, to do the unthinkable, wondering if he'll feel forsaken or abandoned, but knowing it's the best option. In the meantime, I want to be part of the preparation and process to help my son adjust to group home living, to transition him gradually with gentle, loving nudges. I want to be able to give him opportunities for enriched and memorable family gatherings while I can, to give him extended stay family time. Is that such a horrible thing? And after I'm gone, I want his relatives or his church friends or possibly even work associates to be able to take him for extended off-site excursions as well. Why is that such a taboo? Why such hardships and restrictions for leave time? Our children have special needs. They're not criminals serving prison time. All of our disabled children who move into group homes should know that they will continue to participate in family gatherings, get to come back home on occasion for visits overnights, go on family vacations just like their other siblings, or better yet, how about community participation? Attend special camps, church outings, maybe job training retreats. What better way to build interpersonal relationships than these such opportunities? As a recent pandemic has taught us all, social isolation and loss of connectedness is devastating to the human condition. So too for the IDD community living in group homes. They have suffered the same loss of connection, but in their cases, this separation and isolation is part of policy, and it's ongoing. Masks and vaccines won't end their isolation forged by policy. An allowance for ongoing family and community connectedness and support by providing extended leave time options needs to be embedded into policy, not prohibited or penalized. Never again should group home residents suffer from feeling abandoned or left out of significant family events due to that 24-night rule. So on behalf of our disabled children and the thousands of others throughout Florida, we urge you to consider tweaking the restrictive 24-night group home funding rule and embrace a more inclusive and compassionate allowance for disabled people to engage off-site with those who love them and care about their well-being. Extended leave time. Thank you for your time and consideration. And now, please allow me to introduce Chasity, who will address the future state of group home housing in Florida.
My name is Chasity Hendricks, and I live in Volusia County with my husband and 2 children. Our youngest, Jacob, who has an intellectual and developmental disability and is 10. As a parent of a neurological child, when you envision their future, you think of them graduating high school, going to college, starting a career, and getting married. Although stressful to think of them being on their own, the biggest concern is being an empty nester. However, when you have a child with a disability, the thought of their future can feel like things nightmares are made of. What will we do? What if we do everything we can, therapy, schooling, etc., to help them be independent, but as an adult, they still can't live independently, even with support? Worse yet, what happens if I can no longer support them? Will they end up in a group home? These very questions are the reason I am here today. In researching group homes, the statistics paint a very concerning picture about the future. According to the latest State of the States in Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities, there are over 472,000 individuals in Florida with intellectual and developmental disabilities. About 352,000 of those individuals live with a family caregiver, and over 112,000 of these individuals live with a caregiver over the age of 60. For a lot of these individuals, once their family caregiver can no longer provide the support they need, there isn't another family member to take over, and a group home may be their only option. The other side of these statistics are even more concerning. Of the 352,000 individuals living with a family caregiver, less than 10%, or about 20,000 individuals, receive services from the Agency for Persons with Disability. This is an important number, as the only way for an individual to get into a licensed group home is through APD, utilizing the med waiver. According to APD's latest report, there are only 12,582 total licensed group home beds in Florida, and just over 2,500 of those beds are currently vacant. Also, APD currently services just over 58,000 individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and over 22,000 of those individuals are on a wait list. In addition, according to Medicaid, if an individual living in a group home does not overnight for 24 days a month, instead of the group home being paid for the entire month, they will only be paid for the nights the individual is there. There are no exceptions to this. Looking at all these statistics and the current average life expectancy for individuals with IDD being 60 years, there will be a dramatic increase of individuals with IDD needing access to group homes in the near future. As the need for group homes exceeds the number of beds available, will group homes enact policies that threaten the eviction of individuals if they don't spend 24 nights each month in the group home? Should an individual with IDD give up all freedoms and independence because they need more support than an independent living facility can offer? This is why we are here today, to ask you to consider a change to the Medicaid rule and extend the 24-night rule to 20 nights 2 times a year. This does not require additional funds, and with many individuals with IDD living their entire adult life in a group home, this small step can help them maintain a meaningful connection with family and friends. We would like to thank you for your time and consideration on our request.